Stock Navigators has been definitely worth the investment. It's not just a course, it's a community. Stock Navigators was the only one that had the complete package. It had the course, community, Discord. It just had everything. Trading has actually totally changed my life. My best day has been about $6,000. I dream again. Trading has just opened a whole new world for me. My wife and I just went to Europe. I'm 63, and I feel like I have a whole life ahead of me. I give thanks to trading in Stock Navigators. Anyone out there who's thinking about joining Stock Navigators, just do it.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Stock Navigators Trader Spotlight. My name is Tiffany Leung and I am Tom's daughter. I am super excited to talk to another successful trader in our program, and I am so honored to have him here today to share his story. Do you mind introducing yourself and what is your name?
Yes, my name is Cedric Scott.
Thank you, Cedric. So I think how I want to kick it off is why don't you start off and walk me through your current job, career, any of that sort.
Well, actually, I am a registered nurse and I run a dialysis department, but nursing is my third career. I was a network engineer. That was my first career. I was an entrepreneur. I had an IT business for 13 years. That was my second career. And nursing is now my third career. I've been nursing for 12 years.
12 years. Wow. And what originally made you get into nursing and go through the different types of career paths that you have been through?
Well, back then, back in the 80s when I got my first undergrad, there was no computer science. It was called Business Information Systems. After that, I went to work for Sprint. I was with Sprint for about 13 years. Then in 1998, 99, I became a vendor for Sprint. And business just took off. It very well for a while. Ended up selling the business around 2012. Didn't do anything for a year. Then my daughter, who was an anesthesiologist, she says, you ought to go into healthcare. And I thought she meant go to medical school. I was 44 at the time. And I said, no, I'm too old for that. And she said, no, nursing. She says, you have the perfect temperament. It will be perfect for you. You're caring. I think it would be good for you. And when my kids were growing up, I would always tell them, when they would come to me with a question, I would answer, and then I would say, research it. And she told me, research it. And I did. And I found out that nursing might be a good, final career for me. And I'm glad I did. It's been my calling. I love it.
And would you
Until I found the Stock Navigators.
Got it. So
I got a second look.
I was going to say, it wasn't your last career like you expected, right?
Right, that is correct. I am working toward becoming a full-time trader. It's been tough because I work full-time. I work nights. Wow. So I don't get sleep often because I work from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Sometimes it's pretty tough trying to get home, get my trade plan done. That's why I don't post a lot. But to get all that done and be ready for Cleve at 8:15.
Mm-hmm. What would you say, Cedric, is I'm just going to choose the nursing career since that's the most recent career that you had, obviously before Stock Navigators. What would you say were some of the biggest challenges and pain points that you dealt with throughout your time in that career?
In nursing, I guess the biggest challenge is dealing with people, seeing their pain. You really have to have a heart for people. Because when people are in pain, they're not the most fun. But what I have found, what really helps, is in dialysis, I get to spend hours with the patient rather than just minutes. And by being able to do that, I get to just talk to them. And you get them to talk about their family. And when people talk about things that they enjoy, they forget about their pain. not only that, but you can learn so much from people from all walks of life just by listening.
I agree. People need to listen more, right? So that's a perk of your job, being able to help people forget about their pain in those few minutes or few hours that you're working with them. Now, what made you look at trading?
I remember when I was a network engineer, we had a customer actually, and I forget what broker it was, but we would go in and I would see all these guys, sitting at these computers, and it just looked fascinating. So I always had kind of an interest. Well, the only investing I've ever done before this was just 401k. So I didn't know anything about trading before Stock Navigators. I was totally green. I knew nothing. But what I like about Stock Navigators is you create great resources, because I'm not able to get on a lot of the coaching calls, but I can access the recordings, and I have gone back several, months and months of just those calls. They really help me, and they prevent me from having to ask a lot of questions within the community, because I find that most of my questions have been answered in a lot of those coaching calls.
Love that. Now, I obviously understand the reason why you're fascinated by seeing, people on big computers trading, but what made you originally seek out trading? Was there something going on in your current job, some challenge, some pain point that made you realize, oh, I need to possibly look at another, supplemental career path?
Well, I've always had quote unquote a side hustle. I think it was just I saw a Stock Navigator commercial. Tom was talking, and it led me to get on the website, do some more research, and I'm like, hey, I might like that, because I felt like there's something that I can do with my current job. I was working nights, so I could trade in the morning, and it seemed to be a perfect fit, and it has been.
And then in terms of, you mentioned that you're looking at through your research different companies, right? And you stumbled upon Stock Navigators. What about Stock Navigators stood out to you that made you decide to go with that company?
I guess was the fact that you guys have not only the live stream, but you had the course, you have the recordings, you had the complete package. There are a lot of other companies out there where they don't have all of that. They may have a guide that can teach, but they don't really have course material. Nothing that's complete and comprehensive as Stock Navigators. To me, you were the best package out.
Got it. Was there anything about Tom specifically that stood out to you in terms of him being your mentor if you were to join the program?
I just felt like in that commercial, watching Tom, finding out that he was also an engineer, I felt like if Tom could do it, then I could do it.
And then how long have you been in the program for, Cedric?
I have been in the program now since April of 2024.
Wow. So a little bit more than a year, right?
Yes. I've only been able to do it part-time. I work 7 days on, 7 days off. So I can't trade every day.
So how often do you trade then?
I've been trading at least 3 to 4 days a week.
That's pretty good.
Now I have kind of a schedule. I trade during the live stream with Cleve. Then I'll trade maybe an hour with Tom. Then I'll get some sleep. Then I'll get up and I'll trade power hour from 2 to 3. And then I'll go back to sleep.
That's a good balance.
Then I have to be back at work at 7.
Yeah. At least you're able to make it work, right? I think a lot of new prospects that are looking into trading, I think one of their biggest objections is, oh, I don't have enough time. I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I work night shifts, right? But you obviously proved them wrong. Because if you're able to do it and you're able to manage your time, why isn't anyone else able to do it?
but when it comes to time, you got to find the time. You got to want it. I've realized since I've been in Stock Navigators that if I really, really want to excel at this, you have to put the time in. When I am not trading, I don't watch regular TV anymore. I'm listening to coaching calls, I'm going over live streams, I'm going over the course. I've been through the course about 7 times. Well, for me, I am an auditory learner. If I hear it over and over and over and over again, then I retain it. The resources that Stock Navigator has makes it perfect for me because I can always go back and listen to it.
You're not missing anything because everything's recorded, right?
Exactly.
And walk me through your journey so far. You know, I know it's part-time for you going through the program, but walk me through how the journey is from when you started all the way till now, how the progress of your trading has been.
My journey started with me naturally going through the course. And I went through the course, I think, twice. You guys were great at letting new students know what not to do. And I didn't listen to any of that.
Wow. Why didn't you listen?
Because I felt that I was, I'm a smart guy. I can do this. It's not going to take me years to learn this. I can do this in a month. And what I did was I got on Sim. I think my first 2 months in Sim, I did great. And then I went and got a live account, and boy, that was not good. And I went back to Sim, and then and only then, after it took some failure for me to realize, no, I really have to learn this. This is not something that you can kind of know. You got to know. You really have to know. You have to develop a plan, because initially I was one of those traders who just traded on momentum, and so that's up and down and up and down and up and down, and that's not good. That's not. It wasn't until I started incorporating rules in my trade and that I started gaining a little success, and that's only been recently. That's only been within the last maybe few months.
You mentioned that, you know, you had a wake-up call in terms of trading, and you realized that you need rules when it comes to trading. So I would like to know how your rules have progress, whether that is with the help of Discord, the community, or through the coaching calls, or through the live streams. Like, what did you do next after you realize, okay, I realize it's not just momentum trading that I'm going to get it off the bat. I need to actually live with this.
What made me realize that I really had to develop a plan was first to see myself fail at it. What's great about Stock Navigators is it's not just a course, it's a community. So I started going through Discord, looking at the trade results of other traders, because a lot of times, you want to know, well, how did they win? I didn't win initially, so how did they win? And when they post their results, a lot of times they state what strategy they were looking for. And initially, the first course didn't talk a lot about strategies. There wasn't a whole lot about actual strategies.
The first version of the course?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So with that, the light came on, and it said, hey, I need to develop something that's repeatable. And I started first with just reversers. I did trade nothing but reverse. And I got to a point where I could not just see them, but once I incorporate my rules with them, I could be successful at it. And then I started journaling. Then I started testing, and little by little, the lights started coming on brighter and brighter and brighter. Now, don't get me wrong. I still struggle from time to time, but it's getting better, and it's getting better exponentially.
Love that. And are you still on Sim right now, Cedric, or have you moved to live accounts?
I have a live account,
Oh,
and I am funded. I have 2 pro accounts through Take Profit Pay.
love that. So you have two funded accounts that you trade 3 to 4 times a week. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, love
Well,
that.
well, since I've gotten some success, I trade at least 1 trade a day, every day.
Okay, very good. And what is your daily income goal average?
My income goal is $300 to $500 a day. Is enough where I feel like I can get in and I can get out of the market and not give it back. Because if
Yep.
I trade lower than those 2.5 hours in the morning,
Yep.
1 hour in the afternoon, I tend to give it back.
hmm And how many trades do you do max if you were to trade in a day?
During the course of a trading day, I try not to have more than 6 to 8 trades.
That's good that you're minimizing it. And how much capital are you trading right now with the funded accounts?
My funded accounts are $25,000 cappers.
Okay,
And I typically trade 1 to 2 contracts in those accounts.
got it. And I have to ask this question since you told me it, but what would you say is your best single trade in a day so far?
My best day has been about $6,000. My best day. My best single trade has been $3,600.
Wow, both fantastic. Way more than your what you told me that your daily goal is.
Yes, yes, yes.
Love that.
But those have been later I found out that those were trades right after the some type of announcement.
Yep.
And the market just goes crazy.
Yep.
And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
Those tends to be the best trades, I will tell you that. So I'm glad you got to take a
Fortunately, they're not repeatable.
I know. I know. That would be nice, right?
Yeah.
But it's more about consistency. Like those numbers are great, but it's more about how consistent are you when it comes to trading.
Yes.
How has trading success so far, Cedric, changed your life beyond just the money?
Trading has actually totally changed my life. It has done so because to become successful at this, you have to kind of change your personality. You have to become more patient. And that's not something you can turn on and turn on. Even my wife says to me, you become more patient. And trading, you have to make some changes within yourself because a lot of it is psychology. You got to think positive. You have to put the work in. You have to do positive things. You have to put yourself on a regimen. It's going to change you. To be successful at this, it's going to change you.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. And what are you able to do now that you couldn't do before?
Since I've been trading, I dream again. I'm dreaming again because I can see myself becoming more and more successful at this. I'm dreaming about more opportunities, things that I want to do with my life. My wife and I just went to Europe this past summer. I was able to trade from Europe. Trading has just opened a whole new world for me.
And did you enjoy your vacation to Europe?
Yes, I did. We spent 6 days in Rome, spent 3 days in Monte Carlo,
Wow.
spent 2 days in Nice, and 3 days in Cannes.
Perfect time over there in Europe. Those are all beautiful places. And how has this impacted your family and relationships?
I think that trading has impacted me to the point where I'm more patient. I used to be the type of guy to fly off the handle. My temperament wasn't the greatest. I felt stressed all the time. Trading has changed me.
What were you stressed about? I'm curious.
I used to always say I live a stress-free life. I never really worried about money and bills so much. I've always been able to make enough to pay for my life, but I wasn't able to fulfill my dreams. And what trading has done was now it has opened that door again. And I'm 63. And I feel like I have a whole life ahead of me. I give thanks to trading and stock navigators. You guys put me back, back on the road of life.
I love that, and thanks so much for sharing that the impact. What are your dreams? I'm curious. Do you mind sharing a few dreams? I know that you were able to travel recently with your wife to Europe. What other dreams do you have in mind now?
I would like to live in another country, and by going to Europe, seeing how other people live, it kind of broadened my horizons as to there are other ways in other places that you can live and have a great life. So I'm kind of opening up to them.
Hey, the world is your oyster. There's a lot of beautiful places, a lot of experiences, different cultures to experience out there. So I'm glad you got a little taste of it. Now, looking back, Cedric, would you say Stock Navigators was worth the investment?
Stock Navigators has been definitely worth the investment. I felt like initially I was like, oh, it's an investment. However, and then looking at your competitors, Stock Navigators was the only one that had the complete package. It had the course, it had the community, Discord. It just had everything that I felt that I needed to win, and it has definitely been worth my investment.
Love that. And how does this compare to other educational investments you have made or possibly made previously?
There is no comparison because all of the other occupational investments that I've made, there's a window of what you can make. Whereas with trading, there is no window. There's no top. Your earnings can be exponential. I mean, they could be infinite. Mm-hmm. It depends on you. That's what really amazes me about being a trader. It's up to me how much I want to make. But it starts with how much do you want to learn? Because if you don't learn this, then it can have an opposite effect on you and you lose. So, that's the other side of the coin. Like I started out on live and I lost money. That was a hard lesson, but then it was a good lesson as well because I realized that I can't do this and lose. I have to learn this craft and become better. At this point, I'm all in. There is no turning back. Just keep going and keep going and keep going. It's a whole lot. It's a lot to learn, but the journey and it has been great.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that's with anything, right, in life. If you really want something, you have to put in the time and the effort. Nothing's going to come easily handed to you.
Yeah.
Things that are worth it, at least.
Now, that's another thing I want to say about trading. Trading has been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It is the most gratifying thing. In the end, it's worth it, and I'm not even there yet. No, I'm just getting a taste of having a little success. Mm-hmm. But I know there's more to come.
I agree. With the path you're on, the future is pretty bright, Cedric. And do you believe you could have achieved this success without the Stock Navigators program?
No. There is no way that I could have achieved this without Stock Navigators. What Stock Navigators does that none of your competitors do is you give an audio and visual outline of how to become a successful trader. When you incorporate the course, the live streams with Cleve and Tom, they teach you how to prepare. And it wasn't until that sunk in that I started really, really having some success. Now I know, don't jump into a trade unless it's your strategy. You can't just go click crazy. It just does not work.
Mhm.
You have to win on purpose. Like Cleve says, you have to win on purpose.
Have a purpose, win on purpose. Yep, agree. Now, what would you tell someone who's on the fence about joining?
Just do it. I would tell anyone out there who's thinking about joining Stock Navigators, just do it. If you have drive and you want to succeed and you have a work ethic, Stock Navigators can help you reach your potential.
Thanks so much for the kind words, Cedric. What advice would you give to new students just starting out on their trading?
For all new students, when you're told, do not trade live until you have several months of success on sim, obey that. That's number one. Also, go through the course more than once before you come to live stream, before you get on coaching calls. Go through the course at least, I would say, about 3 times. Get an understanding, because when you get to a live stream, it's going to be all over your head and you're wasting your time. If you can follow, if you have at least the fundamentals within you and you're on a live stream, what happens is that eventually you will learn to think the way Tom and Cleve think. And there's nothing more gratifying than when I enter in a trade and later we find out that he entered the same place that I entered. There's nothing more gratifying. Because now I'm feeling like, okay, I'm starting to get this here. I'm starting to think like an expert trader.
Oh, I like how you said that. That was pretty cool. That's awesome. And if someone is skeptical, just in general, about trading education, they believe, oh, I don't need to learn from someone professional from trading. I can just go online, look at stuff, figure out myself. What would you say to that person?
To anyone who wants to get into trading and they don't have any experience, without having a full program behind you, you're just spinning your wheels. I just feel that way. Now that's my personal opinion. Now I know some have done it, but the odds are very small.
Okay, I think that's it for today, Cedric. I just want to say thank you so much for being here, sharing your story to everyone here that is watching. And I am so proud of your success so far and the time, commitment, the hard work that you have put into this program. It's obviously paying off. And I cannot wait to see more success from you in the very near future. Thank you so much for attending this Trader Spotlight today for Stock Navigators.
All right, I'll see you in Las Vegas.
Okay, sounds good.